Good afternoon, everyone. Can I ask you to please stand for the Canada, followed by the Rotary Greats, James Bottom, to introduce our visiting Rotarians and guests.
Good morning, everybody. So for visiting Rotarians, we have Ron Breton from Lochaber, Scotland. Yay, Ron, right here! Yay, yay! The Nanaimo North Rotary Club, we have Derek Richwood. Derek. Thank you. And as the guest of Janet Howard, we have Laura Lee Seeley. Yay, Laura Lee. Eileen Evie. Somebody else. And as the guest of Joan and Terry Toombs, we have Richard Michael. Who's not here. He's on his way. You're not here.
Thank you, James. I asked Allan Neale if we could have Allan Neale Day at Rotary. And so that's what today is. And I just want to introduce Allan from my perspective, and that is, I met him at DLTA probably 10 years ago. And we had actually worked with the Norgard Deal Camden firm with our business. So I knew of Allan, but I'd never met him in person. And he was such a lovely person and such a nice person. And amongst Rotarians, that's not hard to find, but he was especially welcoming. And so I thought about it, and I'd been thinking about joining Rotary for a while, and I asked Allan if he would consider introducing me to this club. And he said he would, and he mentored me, and I thank you, and I welcome you to come to the podium and tell us all about what Rotary means to you. I asked Allan Neale if we could have Allan Neale Day at Rotary. And so that's what today is. And I just want to introduce Allan from my perspective, and that is, I met him at DLTA probably 10 years ago. And we had actually worked with the Norgard Deal Camden firm with our business. So I knew of Allan, but I'd never met him in person. And he was such a lovely person and such a nice person. And amongst Rotarians, that's not hard to find, but he was especially welcoming. And so I thought about it, and I'd been thinking about joining Rotary for a while, and I asked Allan if he would consider introducing me to this club. And he said he would, and he mentored me, and I thank you, and I welcome you to come to the podium and tell us all about what Rotary means to you.
So I don't think the proclamation of Allan Neale Day is a proclamation that's likely to revive the fireworks industry, but I've been in this club now for about 25 years, and I think when I started I was around 40 or something like that. I was definitely one of the younger ones at any rate. So in my background, I've done many things. I've been a partner in 2 accounting firms, one a big firm in Winnipeg and one my little firm here in Victoria. I've coached hockey players for 30-odd years. I've been on national committees where we consult with the Minister of Finance in Ottawa about the budget. And I've been in Rotary for 25 years. And so I thought, you know, these different types of organizations, different types of teams, there are some similarities. So I thought we'd just talk about that. So here's some things about coaching that I think apply to Rotary. So first of all, the first one is positive language. I remember when I was in university, I was listening to this psychologist talking, and he was talking about, the point was, don't tell people what you don't want them to do, tell them what you want them to do. And he used as an example, he said, okay, I don't want you to think about an orange. And especially, I don't want you to think about an orange that says sun-kissed on it. And of course, what's everybody thinking about? Hockey coaches are famous. So let's say, you know, people, they shoot the puck and they miss the net consistently. So what do the hockey coaches say? Hit the net for, you know, you just don't miss the net. Whereas I would say, you know, you got a really good shot. You ever get that on the net, you'll get 50 goals. You know, I had the fortune of being you know, in my history, I've been the best player on the team and the captain and all that, and I've also been the worst player on the team. So I know what it feels like to get the feedback from the coach. You know, so I know what it's like when you go to the coach, tell me, coach, why am I on the 4th line? And he would say, because we don't have a 5th line. So you have to have a little bit of, don't take yourself too seriously. But I think that by knowing what it's like to be the worst guy, I also made me a better coach, because I also knew you had to make sure you got to reach those people. Now, when you look at Rotary, it's a similar type of thing. When I first started, like I'm, believe it or not, an introverted person, so I joined the club, and for the first 2 or 3 years, I don't think anybody even knew who I was. I was invisible, basically. I was coaching and busy with my job and all that. So, and then there was a guy on our club called Judd Buchanan who asked me to be the treasurer. And I said, oh, okay, I could do that. The first president that I worked with was Patrick Crofton. And I love that guy. He would say, he always called us, whenever he talks to the club, he always calls us colleagues. And I thought, wow, I'm a colleague of Patrick Crofton. And to this day, when I take the most junior person in my firm to meet a client, I always say, this is my colleague. There's only 2 ways out of being the treasurer. One is death, and the other is to be the president. And even when they announced that I was going to be president, because I was pretty under, you know, oh, the accountant's going to be the president. You could hear the eyes rolling in the room. Oh, that would be interesting. When I was president, you know, I had help from all sorts of people. So Bob White, for example, did the car raffle that year. We did this little Mini Cooper thing, and it was fabulous success. And we had this unusual guy that did the program called Terry Jones. And I had just met him. And he's a bit odd, I know, but he was really, I just couldn't believe how enthusiastic he was. We had themes for every month, and these guys just, and it really reminded me of my hockey team, you know, like I had the puck, and here's all these guys, these people supporting. It was really amazing, actually. I had all this inspiration. So I've been involved, since being president, I've been involved in other things, because now I'm the support person. Now, Rotaract, for many years, I had to go every week just to kind of keep it alive. And now they've developed, so they're the biggest Rotaract club in the district. I don't have to, you know, they're independent. They don't need me anymore. I go to their meetings and they don't even know who I am anymore. So that's fantastic. You really try to make a difference while you're here. And I think, you know, my goal now when I look at my little grandchildren is to be a good, I hope they say someday that I was a good ancestor. Anyway, thanks you for
I'd
listening.
like to call on Janet Power, our director of the Rotary International Foundation. We have a very special award to give to Allan Neale today.
Thank you, President Allan. Good afternoon, guests, fellow Rotarians. As you know, I'm the chair for the foundation, and as Allan spoke about, teamwork is very important. And Allan, as we know, has been a great team member of our Rotary Club, locally and internationally. So I've learned one thing this week. It's nice to learn something new when you're the chair and it's ongoing. I've learned about major donors. Allan Neale is a major donor for the Rotary Foundation. We would like to present you today with a crystal plaque engraved with a peace emblem and a major donor pin. Now, special today, we have a award to present, a Paul Harris Award, and as Ali said, for community effort. And this gives me great honor to present an award to Eileen Ebby. Eileen is a former teacher, former elementary school principal, and has been a literacy instructor. She's the coordinator for our Victoria area.
As my English grandmother says, I'm gobsmacked. It's wonderful, thank you.
So there were absolutely no fines today, but on the other hand, there were definitely some happy buttons.
Next week, I'd like to have a meeting with anybody that's interested in the science fair and participating. One of the things that we're going to talk about is whether or not we continue to give prizes for environmental projects.